get started, and then if there's other people, they'll join us. Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Barbara Chabner. I'm the program manager at NJCTS. I want to welcome you this morning to the second of our empowerment advocacy series, Beating the Bully. And before I introduce our speaker, I just want to remind you that we have 3 additional sessions in our empowerment advocacy series. November 21st will be the power of social media. We'll have the communications manager at NJCTS along with one of our youth advocates. December 12th, we have Put Your Voice into Action. It will be a session on getting more comfortable with public speaking. And then our last one is Ask the Legislator on January 16th. There'll be a New Jersey legislator that will talk about their their experience, their role as a legislator, and how you can advocate. So I'd like to welcome everybody again today. Today our topic is Beating the Bully. We have our presenter is Nicole Stark, and Nicole is a school psychologist. And Nicole, I don't actually have a bio prepared on you, so I'm going to let you introduce yourself. If people have questions, you can use the chat feature, and Nicole will be happy to answer them. Okay, take it away, Nicole.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Like Barbara said, my name is Nicole, and I am a school psychologist in the Hackettstown School District. I have been working in the schools since 2016. I've worked with every age group from preschool through 12th grade, so I have a wide range of experience. I was also diagnosed with Tourette's at 14. Side note, my husband also has Tourette's, and we met through NJCTS, so this is very familiar with my life. I'm going to get started, and we'll just go over what bullying is and how we can work with it within our homes. So I want to first start with a little activity. So if you have a piece of paper, I want you to take out a piece of paper and with a pen or whatever you have, just write a name on it. It could be your name, it could be a family member's name, a friend, whatever you have. So just like I did, I don't know if you can see it with the glare, I just wrote my name, Nicole. I'll give everyone a minute. All right, and once you write your name on the paper, I want you to take it, crumple it up. Try to squish it as much as you can so it's all crumbled into like a little ball. Once you crumble it, now is the hard part. I want you to try and unravel it and flatten it out. So there's no way that your piece of paper, once it's been crumpled, is going to flatten out perfectly like it was before. And I like to use this activity with my kids, no matter what grade level, to show them the impact of their words. Because what we say to other people, even if we don't mean it, does have an impact on them. And just like the sheet of paper, it might not always come out. It might look better the more you flatten it, but it's always going to have some wrinkles and some kinks in it that we just can't fix. So I like to use this activity with my kids just to show them the power of their words and how if we do bully someone, how it can make them feel on the inside, even if we don't see it. So what is bullying? And the next couple slides are the legal definition by the state of New Jersey on bullying. So every school has to have a definition for HIB or HIB, however your school district wants to label it, which stands for harassment, intimidation, and bullying. This can be a single gesture, a single word, or a series of this. And most school districts have now gone on to add electronic communications into their bullying policies with all the cyberbullying that may happen. And now that school districts are more virtual, electronic bullying is even more present. So bullying has to be motivated by a perceived characteristic or an actual characteristic. So it could be your race, your religion, your origin, your gender, any disability that you may have, or a distinguishing characteristic. It can take place on school property, at a school-sponsored event, or off school grounds. So the one thing that some parents and children don't understand is if Johnny and Billy are not friends and they get into a fight off school grounds after school hours, that could still be investigated by the school as a case of bullying. So the one thing that we were told is if you go home first and then that happens, that's when it might not be considered a school event. So if they're walking home from school on the same route, Johnny throws away, could be an instance of bullying that would be reviewed by the school. The physical, emotional, it's a perceived disability by students. Just to go back, it can also cause fear in the students coming to school. As long as they report it, the school has to investigate. So these are just some of the definitions that my school district uses for what bullying is from the state regulations. So I want to give you guys a scenario that I want you to use the chat box if you want. So you notice that one of your friends is teasing and making fun of other children at camp. Your friend has started to take things from them as well. So in the chat box, I want you to put, is this bullying or would you consider this conflict between children?
Nicole, can you state the scenario again, please?
Sure. You notice that one of your friends is teasing and making fun of younger children at camp. Your friend has started to take things from them as well. So would you guys consider this bullying or a conflict? So this one's a little bit hard to determine. If it's continuous and if your friend is doing this because the child is younger, and that is the perceived characteristic, then this could be bullying. And I just want you to think about what would you do in this situation if you saw one of your friends teasing someone else? Okay. So who could be a bully? It could be a peer, so someone your same age. It could be a complete stranger. It could even be a teacher or any other adult. It's really anyone who has a perceived power. So as long as they think that they are more powerful than you, or you think that they are more powerful than you. That is someone who could be a bully. It's not a one size fits all category. It really can be anyone. So, oh, I'm seeing things come into the chat. Okay, good job, everyone. So here's another scenario. Your teacher keeps calling you stupid every time you get an answer wrong in class and says that there's no point in even trying to teach you because you can't learn. The other children have started to call you names too. In the chat box, can you guys write who do you think the bully is or who the bullies are? Yeah, the teacher is could definitely be a bully in this scenario, because the teacher does have a perceived power, and they are looking at one characteristic of you, and that characteristic is your intelligence. And everyone has a different level, and that is perfectly fine, but no one should ever call you stupid, especially a teacher. And I want you to think, what would you do in this scenario? You don't have to write it, just think about what would you do? Would you confront your teacher? Would you talk to a friend? Or would you, try to talk to a parent? So what is a bystander? Now, this is a term that sometimes we hear about with bullying and sometimes we don't. This is a new term that everyone is trying to learn. So a bystander is a person who witnesses the bullying. And here's a little definition from stopbullying.gov. So in that first scenario where you had seen your friend taking things from the other child, you were the bystander in that case. And sometimes the bystander has the most power in a situation of bullying, because that person is the one who can talk to the bully and get them to stop or go get help. Because when we feel bullied, we might have, what's the word I'm looking for? We might feel like no one is going to listen. No one is going to believe us. We feel hopeless and helpless. So the bystander is really someone who can come and really help. Okay. So what do you think an upstander would be? If a bystander is someone who can see the bullying, what would an upstander be? So an upstander is someone who speaks up when they see something wrong. This is someone who, when they see the bullying, they go and they get the help. They go and they, jump in and stop the bully from continuing to do what they're doing. And what we really need to be aware of is how many times that we can be an upstander instead of a bystander. So here's one more scenario. A new student has started at your school this week and he's having trouble fitting in. Some of your friends have been laughing behind his back. So I want you guys to write, how could you be an upstander and not a bystander in this situation? What is something you can do to help instead of just watch your friends laugh at this new student? That's a good question in the chat. With classmates, saying beating or stepping or pinching, that could be bullying because it is physical, could be physical hurt. So yes, that could be a sign of bullying. And I believe in the next slide or two, we'll talk about how you can report that to the school in a safe way. But for this current slide, so one way that you could be an upstander and not a bystander is by trying to make friends with the new student, or telling your friends to stop, or telling a teacher, which are all good ways to be an upstander. So I have a little video. I don't know if this is going to work. This is just about being an upstander. Oops. Let's see if it will play. Oops.
We're not hearing audio to it, Nicole.
You're not?
No.
Okay. All right. So I apologize for that. Maybe in the maybe if the slides are shared, we can share that video. But all it is that little boy was being bullied by his classmates for tapping and doing things that he shouldn't be doing in class. And his teacher actually was an upstander and gave him drumsticks, and he was able to start drumming, and now he's a professional musician. Thank you, Sam, for the recommendation. I'm still getting used to all the Zooms, so hopefully you guys can watch the video. Maybe at the end we can figure it out, or after the presentation is over. So what to look for if you believe your child is being bullied or a friend is being bullied: unexplainable injuries, loss or destroyed personal items, somatic symptoms. So this could be like saying your stomach hurts, but you're really not sick, or you have a headache, but it's not a real headache. It's more the anxiety and the nervousness building up in your body. That's a somatic symptom. Changes in eating, so eating too much or binging or skipping meals, difficulty with sleeping and or having nightmares, loss of interest in school, sudden loss of friends or feeling isolated, feeling helpless, and self-destructive behaviors. So self-destructive behaviors could be like hair pulling, picking at your skin, or more severe, cutting, things of that nature that are hurting your own body. So who should you talk to? If you feel that the teacher is not the bully in this case, sometimes talking with your teacher once you have that relationship is good. There is the school counselor, who is typically part of the anti-bullying committee. So they are the ones who investigate who is a bullying situation, an HIB situation. The principal, you can always go talk to the principal. And if those three are not always responding, you can go higher to your school superintendent, who runs the whole district. And if that's not working, there is always your state Department of Education. So those are who you should talk to if you're feeling like your child might be bullied. So every district has an HIB policy, and it should be on your district's website. So this is a little screenshot I grabbed from my district. I work in Hackettstown. I grabbed from our bullying part. So here it has what we would do and how that a parent could report it. So this red part would be a link to our online reporting. So all a parent would have to do is click that, type in what they feel is the bullying, and report it. After that, the school district then has 10 days to start the investigation and notify the parents of the suspected victim and the suspected bully that there is a bullying case going on. Once the school district reviews all the information, interviews all the students who would be a part of it, so this would be the suspected bully or bullies, the victim, and any potential witnesses. So a witness could be the teacher, a witness could be a student who walks by in the hallway. It could be a special teacher, anyone who might have seen what had happened. After all of that is complete, it is determined by your anti-bullying coordinator if this is bullying or if this is a conflict. If it's bullying, it would go to the principal would take action to remediate the situation, whether that's suspension, or counseling that is needed for both students. Sometimes in the elementary schools, we do group mediation. So sometimes it's teaching kids what bullying is, if it's a low incident. If it's a higher incident of physically hurting someone or using very derogatory words, that those students would have counseling separately. So this is one way to do it. If you're a parent and you feel like your child is being bullied, you can always email the school principal, and that would also start the investigation as well. How do I stand up for myself? Or how do you tell your child to stand up to themselves? And the first thing that you need to do is speak up. Because a lot of times when we feel bullied, we don't always talk. We don't share how we're feeling. So no one knows what's going on, and it makes you feel more and more isolated, more and more helpless. So the first thing that you can do is speak up for yourself. And then once you start talking, then the whole situation can start to come to light and to become fixed to the best of everyone's abilities. Tell a trusted adult, and a trusted adult could be your
It looks like our speaker dropped off for a moment. Let's give her a minute to get back. For those of you who have never gone to the NJCTS website, you will find that we have a number of webinars on harassment and bullying. I shared one that we did in October of 2019. So if you go to our website at www.njcts.org and go to the programs, and under programs is webinar archives, you will find some webinars on bullying there. I see Nicole is now back. Welcome back, Nicole. And you should still be good to share your screen, and welcome back.
I apologize for that, everyone. Everyone working from home kind of understands getting kicked off by the internet. So we'll give this a second. If not, I now have backup internet. So just to go over in case anyone didn't hear the last part. The first
Okay. The joys of working from home is absolutely right. My apologies. We'll go back to it. But bullying is a huge issue with all populations. So starting, from kindergarten through adulthood, you even find bullies in the workplace. So there are in the schools, there are lots of things that can happen and has to happen. And our October webinar on HIB, which is harassment, intimidation, and bullying, done by Beth Manns, is a really good one to give you your rights for your children. So I hope that you get to check that out. Does anybody have any particular questions that we can give to Nicole when she comes back? I'm sure she has been subject to bullying. I think all of us have in some way or another at some point, but share with me in the chat what your particular questions are. What brought you to this to this empowerment video for today? Okay.
Yeah, I really want to ask question. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here today because I just want to know what the meaning of bullying. Because
What is
the meaning of bullying, because I always heard my child, whenever she comes back from school, she always tell me, my classmates beat me, my classmate pinch me, he step on me, she keep complaining. I just want to know if that bullying also.
So any action done by another child that if they have control over, has your daughter, has your child, I don't even know, has your child reported this and or you reported this to the teachers or administration of where she's at?
No.
Okay. You need to start there. You need to tell them that your daughter's coming home. This is what's happening, so that they can, so that they can start the process. We definitely need to have them. They need to be made aware that your daughter, this is happening with your daughter or child. I'm sorry. So they need to be made aware. Yes, it can very well be bullying. It could also just be it's certainly harassment, but it's a behavior that needs to be stopped, and you need to do that by starting by talking to the powers that be at the school or the daycare, wherever your child's at. Welcome back, Nicole.
Sorry, I apologize again. Okay, so I'm gonna try this one more time. I only got a few slides left, and hopefully we can just get this going. Okay, so how do I stand up for myself? The first thing is to speak up, because no one knows what's happening unless you start talking. The next thing is to tell a trusted adult, because if something is going on, someone who has some knowledge and some power can always help. So always talk to whoever you trust, whether it's a teacher, a parent, a coach, or a counselor. It can be even someone from like a past teacher that you trust more than your current teacher, or it could be a friend's parent if you feel like your parents may not understand, just anyone who you trust. Or you can always ask a friend for help. A lot of times kids will go to their friends first, and we will hear about bullying from a friend instead of the actual victim first, because their friend feels that they can help in that way, which is an example of being an upstander. So I think that's all I had. Are there any questions?
Nicole, I'm going to ask a question. Excuse me. What would you say if people are concerned about standing up for somebody else because they're afraid that they themselves will then become a target of the bullier?
That is a good question. That's the very hard part with bystanders. You know, a lot of people feel like the bully might come towards them, but the amount of people who see an incident can really impact and not have that happen. So if I'm going to use Johnny and Billy as an example again, if Johnny is bullying Billy and two kids walk by, they're like, oh, I don't want Johnny to come after me, then that's an incident of being a bystander so that they don't get bullied. But the more people that Johnny walks by while he's bullying Billy, you know, though everyone can go make an impact. A lot of school districts do have anonymous reporting as well. So if you do not feel safe because you feel like the bully might come after you, you can always report anonymously so that you can feel safe, you can feel like you're helping, but also feel like there would not be any reciprocal behaviors back towards you. If you feel like a friend is being bullied or has been bullied, the best thing that you can do is to try to talk to them, try to be there for them, you know, watch out for them. If you really think that they need help, there are school counselors, there are school support staff there who can help you talk to them. I always recommend going to your parents if they are, if you feel like your parents would listen and help, because sometimes as kids, we try to take on too much. And it's really better when we start to think about all the parties at play. I'm seeing a couple questions come to me. If there's reporting, if you're trying to report an incident in school, the school district does have, I believe it's 5 days to notify, no, it's 2 days to notify everyone, 10 days to complete the investigation. And then after that, I believe the parents have 1 day before they have to be notified of the results. And everything is agreed upon at a Board of Education meeting anonymously. So the Board of Education might say, we had one incident of bullying at Hackettstown High School. You know, it was founded. And that is all that is ever said to protect everyone. When you report an incident of bullying, you would be asked just to give your statement. They might ask you a few questions, but again, everything is private. No one else knows what's going on. It's very, very safe to report an incident of bullying. And like I said, you can do it anonymously as well.
Hi, I have a question. I'm sorry I joined late, so I don't know if this was already covered. But so my son was getting, when he started having tics when school was before COVID-19, before the schooling is what it is now. He was in class and was having tics and was having, you know, his vocal and making his vocal tics and movement as well. And kids and even the teacher were telling him to stop and to stop making those sounds, and why can't he stop making those sounds, and just repeatedly every day. And so but when I met with the principal and the teacher about that, you know, I said, and we talked through it, and you know, they didn't consider that as a form of bullying, continuing to tell my son to stop, understanding that he couldn't stop. What do you think about that?
So I had a similar situation when I was in school, where I had a teacher who did not believe that I had Tourette's. And my tics at the time were vocal, where I made a sound that sounded like a little mouse. And what had happened was I had gone to my mom, she had gone to the school, and what we needed to do was get a 504 in place for me so that I had accommodations, so that teachers were aware of what my tics were. But if this is going on in the classroom, I always recommend, you know, having a conversation as the parent with the teacher. If it has to include the principal, that is also sometimes a good idea. But NJCTS, I believe they have one of the best programs out there for youth advocacy, where you can either have an adult advocate come to the school and talk to show them what it's like for your child, what it might be, what or symptoms they might display at school. Or the youth advocacy program is great, where they have children that would come to the school and talk about their experiences. And sometimes that does help with bullying within the classroom.
Nicole, I'm going to pick up on that for a moment. Thank you for mentioning the NJCTS programs. So I do want to let everybody know that we do have a couple of different types of programs that we do in schools. We do have our faculty in service presentations. We are aware that a lot of teachers do not know what Tourette syndrome is and what it looks like, and misunderstand those behaviors as acting out behaviors and whatnot. And so we do go into schools and present to the faculty, you know, the teachers, administrators, guidance, et cetera, whoever the school will pull together for that presentation. And we provide them some education about Tourette syndrome, what it is, what it looks like, and some strategies to accommodate it within the classroom. We also have, as Nicole mentioned, our youth advocate presentations. So we do train our youth advocates to go into schools and talk about their experience a bit and explain to their peers what Tourette syndrome is. And we do find that after those presentations, both the teachers and the students are a little more understanding and, you know, change their behaviors a bit based on learning a little bit more about what Tourette syndrome is. So we are doing those presentations virtually now. We realize that, you know, the environment is changed a bit, but we are doing both youth advocate presentations as well as faculty and service presentations through the virtual forum. And so if anybody is interested in having either one of those presentations, or just talking to us a little bit more about those kinds of things that we do, please contact either myself, Barbara Chabner, at bchabner@njcts.org, or Claudia Leho, who is our education outreach coordinator. And we'd be happy to talk to you about scheduling a presentation.
I think there was a hand raised. So if anyone has a question they want to ask out loud, you can unmute yourself.
Sam Regan put up that he'd love to know how he can help his friends recover from dealing with bullying.
And Sam, that is a great question. And I know that you are a great advocate. So I just recommend being that shoulder for your friends to lean on, being there to listen. But if the bullying continues, you know, be that advocate that you are and reach out. You know, reach out to your parents, reach out to your teachers, and really try to stand up for your friends. But sometimes, you know, when we're going through it, we really just need that support of someone we can trust. So continue to be that trusted person for your friend. Any other questions?
How can we define the word standing up yourself?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
How can we define the word standing up by yourself?
How can you find a way to stand up by yourself?
The word standing up by yourself.
I think my internet is going bad. How can we define the word standing up? Okay, thank you, Kelly. So standing up means speaking up, really trying to advocate for yourself. So talking about what is going on, trying to find the words and the strength to be there to share what you know and have something happen. So when we're being bullied and we feel like we're, really down, we're not happy, to stand up for ourselves would be to start talking to our friends or our parents or to our teachers, to getting the word out that something is happening that's not right. So however you feel comfortable getting the word out there that something is happening that's not right, or even for those who are religious, to go to your local priest or your pastor. Those are good places to start standing up for yourself, to start sharing what is going on with the bullying.
Nicole, I have one more question. You mentioned, you kind of referenced electronic bullying and cyberbullying, which is now a big thing that like when some of us were growing up, that didn't exist. So I'm wondering, the kinds of things that you're talking about in terms of being an upstander and talking to someone and reporting and witnessing and all of that. How is that sort of different when we're talking about cyberbullying versus, kind of like in-person bullying?
So I have to say, with the technology now and kids now, you can find a way to document it. Whether it's, someone sent you an email and you don't know that email, but you got that email, take a screenshot of it to document, this is what happened at this day. And even if you don't know who it was, because online we can make any name that we want, really, right? If you don't know who it is, it still can be an act of bullying if it starts to interfere with your school. So if you don't feel safe going to school because you don't know which person it was, then that's an act of bullying that should be investigated by the school. And there are times where kids will come in with pages and pages of text messages or Instagram posts or Facebook messages. And that is how a lot of times we're catching cyberbullying now. It's group chats. People are taking screenshots of group chats and, sharing it like, hey, this is what's going on. I know no one else knows, but this is what's being said in this group chat about so-and-so. So cyberbullying has changed a little bit for the better, a little bit for the worse, because we always don't know what's going on. But I know with most schools being virtual right now, if anything is happening through a school-based laptop, a school-based platform, like in your Google Classroom or in your email, the school has access to that and they can go in and look at all of that and investigate it that way as well. Barbara, I don't know if that really answered the full question, but if it didn't, let me know.
No, that's an answer that helps. Thank you. I just, it's a different ball game out there now than it was at one time, and I was just wondering if there are any, kind of different ways of handling it, cyberbullying versus in person. So yeah, thank you. Are there any other questions for Nicole before we wrap up? Okay. If there are no further questions, then I would like to thank Nicole for your presentation, for taking the time to do this for us this morning. We very much appreciate it. And to all of you who are out there, if you do have any questions that come to you later on, feel free to send them in to me, and I can pass them on to Nicole. And again, remember, we have 3 more in our series of our empowerment advocacy series. The next one coming up in November is the power of social media, which kind of connects a little bit to the cyberbullying. We have, you know, some of the social media platforms are used for bullying of sorts. So we will be addressing a bunch of different aspects around social media. And I encourage you all to go to our website, www.njcts.org, as well, to find out more about the organization and the programs that we offer, and go to the webinar archive, as Kelly suggested, to find webinars on bullying, as well as on a wide variety of other things. I'm going to turn it over to Kelly to just kind of wrap it up. And again, thank you to Nicole.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we have a survey that I will be sending out just after we end. We'd love to have you fill that out. It gives us some insight on how we can do things better. I hope that you've enjoyed this morning's, I was about to say this evening, I'm so used to doing webinars. This morning's lecture on bullying, and I hope that you got what you needed out of it. If not, we're happy to help you in other ways. Thank you and have a great day.